Hi everyone, it's Lena. Thank you for joining me today. So today's video is going to be dedicated to explaining in very simple terms what oil painting mediums are, why they're there, and why you should or shouldn't use them. I've been making videos about oil painting for quite a while now, and based on the comments and responses I've received, I've observed that this is the thing that really just turns people off from oil painting, especially in newcomers and people who are just starting out and exploring the idea of oil painting, the possibility, and the second they encounter information about mediums, they're just like, nope, why do I need this? This is stupid. I don't get it. I'm angry. I'm pissed. I hate oil painting. I know this doesn't apply to everyone, obviously, but I've seen some very angry, frustrated, pissed off people in my oil painting video when it comes to the mediums part. They're just like, ah! Here's the thing. Mediums are not there to piss you off and make you angry or scare you away or give you a mental breakdown. They're there to open the world of possibility for you with oil painting. There's really so many things you could do with them, and it can really enhance your experience with oil painting if you just let go of the fear of not doing it correctly and not knowing how to do things right, and just let yourself experiment and explore. A lot of times when people are thinking of starting out with oil painting, they usually already have a background of painting of some sort. They've probably tried some kind of water-soluble paint, whether it was finger paint in kindergarten or acrylic paint or watercolor. Typically, they already have a background of some kind of painting, and it's usually involved with, acrylic or watercolors. So let's use acrylic paint, for example, and you can think of watercolor as well. But you have your paint, right? It is what it is. It's the paint. It's there. And when you think about the water with acrylic paint or watercolor, and what it's used for, you can use it to clean your brushes. You typically have a little jar or a cup or whatever, something that you dip your brush into to clean it off as you are painting, and then you wipe it on the paper towel and you put it in a new color or whatever. The water is there to clean your brushes. The water is also there to mix in with your paint. You can actually add it to the paint, and it can improve the flow of the paint. It makes it flow more smoothly. And the more water you add to acrylic or watercolor, the slower it's going to dry. When it comes to oil painting, you can't add water to it. It's not going to work. Oil is not water soluble. And I know there is a branch of oil paints that are water soluble. To be honest, I have never used them. I'm not really interested in using them. I like oil paint as they are. So we're just going to leave those out of the picture. Someday I'll make a video about it, but today is not that video. So because you can't clean your brushes off in water with oil paint because it's not going to come off, you're going to need some kind of solvent. And you can imagine the solvent in oil paint being the equivalent of water with acrylic, if that helps at all. So the solvent that I prefer is Gamsol. This is an odorless mineral spirit. There's other kinds of spirits, like turpentine is a very common one, but it's basically used for the same thing. So anything that's really labeled with odorless mineral spirits, preferably artist grade. I'm actually almost out of this. This is what you would use to clean your brushes as you are painting. You can also add this into your paint as you are working, and that can make it flow smoother, it can flatten it out, and make it transparent. So basically this is something that you can add to the paint to make it more workable. Oil paint, when it's straight out of the tube, is really thick, kind of like this thick, creamy texture, and it can be a little bit difficult to get a lot of paint over a surface area. You can clean your brushes in it, and you can add it to your paint as you work. Very simple. I would definitely recommend this being one of the #1 things you invest in if you're going to be using oil paint, and you can just get yourself a tiny little container. I think Gamsol is available in a 4-ounce little bottle, probably for $8 or something like that. Basically look it up on Jerry's Artorama. They have really great deals on Gamblin products. I also prefer Gamsol over the other brands because this is the classroom standard for the fact that it's the safest. So it's used a lot in educational environments like workshops and art schools. Not only for the amazing quality, but also because it is the safest. So although that's technically a solvent, you can also use it as a medium. And a medium is something that you add to the paint to have different effects. You can increase the drying time of the paint, you can increase the flow of the paint, you can make the paint thicker. There's so many different things. So linseed oil is another common medium that you hear about with oil painting. This is basically an oil that you can add to your paint. However, it's going to increase the flow of the paint, but it's also going to make the paint dry even slower. A lot of times when using oily mediums or any other kind of mediums, you want to mix them in with Gamsol. So you can have a little dish that you use and you pour a little bit of linseed oil in there. You can start out with 25% linseed oil and then 75% Gamsol or something close to that ratio, and gradually increase the amount of oily medium you put into that mixture with the upcoming layers. Personally, I don't really use a lot of oily mediums like linseed oil or stand oil, for example. This is basically also linseed oil. It's just a much thicker, more concentrated version of linseed oil, and it has a consistency of honey. And I wouldn't recommend using this straight out of the bottle. I would always mix it in with something like a solvent, like Gamsol. So an awesome medium that I absolutely love and adore with my heart and soul is Galkyd. This is an alkyd resin medium. So it actually is 50% oil that's been treated with heat, and I believe alcohol. I don't know if Galkyd is actually treated with alcohol. It's an oil treated with heat. It's going to evaporate faster, and it's also already 50% solvent. You can pretty much add this straight out of the bottle to your paint. I would recommend also mixing it in with a solvent like Gamsol. I actually have a video that I made called Oil Painting Basics, How to Build Layers, and I show you step by step how I use this medium, the ratios with mixing, and I explain why I do it this way. It's a very simple, easy to understand video. I just go through my layering process with oil painting and how I use this medium. And if you have a background in watercolor or acrylic, I think using an alkyd resin medium like Galkyd is going to be a great start. So if you want to start out with something, I would recommend these two, Gamsol and Galkyd. And the reason I think Galkyd would be an awesome option is because you're already used to paint that dries fast. This is going to decrease the drying time. It's going to make the paint dry faster. So a layer of paint on your canvas that has this stuff in it is going to dry within 24 hours, sometimes even sooner depending on how much you put in. So this is a really great introductory medium to start with oil painting. If you're so confused and you just don't know what to do, just get these two. Like, this could be your beginning. If you like it or if you don't like it, you could start introducing other kinds like the oilier mediums like stand oil or linseed oil. Another kind of medium I really love to use in my work is Galkyd gel, and it's made out of the same stuff, but it's in gel form. I personally love this. I think it's amazing. It makes the paint flow just beautifully. Sometimes I even add a tiny little bit of Gamsol when I'm mixing this, like I dip my brush in it and then mix it with all this stuff in the paint. Another gel that's very similar but I believe has a slightly higher oil content, so it's going to dry a little bit slower than this, is the Solvent Free Gel. This is an awesome product. So if you want to try working with gels and mixing those in with your paint, any of these would really just be amazing. So the purpose of mediums is really just to improve your experience with oil painting. It gives you so many possibilities. It can make the surface more glossy. It can increase or decrease the drying time. It can make the paint floor more It can make the paint flow more smoothly. It can make the layer transparent, so you just have like a see-through layer of paint. And that's called glazing. Try not to be intimidated by it. Don't be afraid of messing up. Don't be scared to try it out. It's really a whole lot of fun, and it is for me. And I was a little bit intimidated by mediums at first. And to be honest, I didn't follow any rules when I started out oil painting. I was just doing whatever. I was mixing all this random stuff with the paint in all kinds of random orders. And you know what? I've never had a painting crack on me to this day. It's there to really just enhance your experience. And I think you're seriously missing out if you're using oil paint without some kind of medium or solvent. You're missing out because there's a lot of things you can do with it. So that is my basic simple explanation of oil painting mediums and what they're there for. I'm probably going to make a separate video for each individual medium that I'm familiar with and just kind of demonstrate how I use it, very similar to the how I build layers video. Again, go watch that if you want a very simple, easy demonstration of how to use Galkyd and Gamsol. If you guys want me to make a separate video for each individual medium, please let me know and I will do my best to get that out to you as soon as possible. I hope this video has been a little bit helpful. I hope it cleared some things up. If you're one of those people that's very angry about oil painting, please don't be. It's wonderful. I love it. So anyways, well, I hope you have a beautiful week. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in my next video. Bye guys.